Chief of the General Staff Home Forces under General Ironside. New pages are being written in the history of martyrdom as you sit in this theatre. Do you ever wonder, can these things be true which we see on the screen in all their horror? They are appallingly true. Tournai in Belgium is stricken, its homes shattered by high explosive or ignited by incendiary bombs, while refugees pass through westward, some in carts, some wheeling bicycles, some on foot. Here and there a lighter aspect breaks the grim panorama of destruction. A tailor's dummy piled in the roadway from the desolate shop lends a strange mockery to the scene. Tournai burns, gaunt and deserted, a ghost town calling for vengeance on the destroyers. What is true of Tournai is true of Arras. Night blankets the flaming streets with somber darkness as the famous city which has seen so much of history, which resisted the invader all through the last war, becomes a burning pyre. Arras had been the headquarters of the British Expeditionary Force. Its familiar streets were known to every British soldier. It suffers now in the holocaust of Nazi lust and hate. Arras burns, but being within the Allied lines, it's not burnt out. The fires are extinguished, and next morning streets are cleaned up for military traffic to pass. Now a smaller community. A French village has been laid completely in ruins. As we ride at full speed along its main thoroughfare, we may see that not a single building has survived the bombardment in this, the most destructive battle in history. The church has not escaped. In the disaster which swept over this village, we can only pray that the patients were removed from the maternity home before the Nazi killer appeared. Small consolation that he was shot down, but there he burns in the adjacent woods, paying the penalty of murder. German aeroplane losses have been colossal, and the battlefields are littered with relics of Junkers and Heinkel bombers. In our admiration for the fighters of the Royal Air Force, let us not forget the pilots of the French Army of the Air who have shared the ardors and glories of the fray. This unit shot down 39 Germans in 3 days. Here is one victory for the German Air Force, a hospital glaringly emblazoned with the Red Cross, its walls exhibiting the gaping holes of Nazi marksmanship. It is being said that the surest way to attract our enemy in this war is to paint the Red Cross of Mercy on the roof or walls. German losses in their assault of the Allied lines include not a few prisoners. Here the French have marshaled captured parachutists, aviators and soldiers behind barbed wire while an officer interrogates them. In spite of the rationing of news from the Western Front, this is a picture that tells a story. It tells a story of Allied success in resistance and counterattack. But the other tale of martyrdom occupies our thoughts today. We find a pitiable crowd of refugees at the Gare du Nord, Paris. Poor souls guilty only of living in the path of the aggressor. Nurses take care of children who have lost their parents during the flight. A blind woman munches away stoically. At least she has been spared the sight of all this agony. Many of them have had no food or sleep for several days. Dog-tired, they fall asleep where they sit. One man drove for 2 days and nights under bombardment with his family and a few belongings mounted on a chassis. An orphaned child cries for his mother. A woman weeps over her baby. Her husband and mother were killed before her eyes. And a French soldier breaks down, a nurse trying to comfort him. He came to get news of his family only to be told that they all are dead. From these bitter sorrows we turn to the wounded. Men of the British Expeditionary Force being carried aboard a hospital ship. Doggedly fighting, the British Army had fallen back from Leuven through Brussels to its old entrenched positions on the Belgian frontier. Its magnificent resistance could not have been accomplished without casualties. Added poignancy attaches to the picture by the fact that the scene is Boulogne, the day before the Germans arrived. These men perhaps were lucky that they were evacuated in safety without the added terror of aerial bombardment. This official War Office film is historic as the last scene taken in Boulogne before the Germans came. And so the Belgian army, having laid down its arms, the BEF with the French Army of the North is left isolated. In this serious and solemn hour, we can be sure that Tommy Atkins is not daunted. The French soldier, too, carries on without flinching. France has taken many hard cracks in her stormy history. it is certain that the French soldier, with his magnificent patriotism, will draw inspiration from his difficulties. While French tanks rumble through the village streets on their way to the battle line, while big French guns bark their defiance from the Channel to the Maginot Line, the French people pledge their trust in the man who has never been beaten, Vale. At this crisis